Inspiration for yoga celebrations essentially arises from the speech given by Prime Minister Modi at the United Nations General Assembly last year, where he called for the United Nations to celebrate an International Day of Yoga. And this was taken up by the UN Secretary General, and it has been accepted. We had more than 177 countries which voted for, and many of whom co-sponsored the resolution, so it was something which went through unanimously. I must mention that it is something which is an ancient tradition with us in India, and so it is good that we have such an event now as an international day which will be commemorated every year. And this being the first one, it was decided by the government and the Prime Minister's office that it would be something very special. And this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to, all over the world, the Indian missions, wherever we are, and of course also in India, at Rajpath and elsewhere, this event is being commemorated in a very large and grand fashion. The idea is that to a large extent, yoga has been misunderstood. In the West, it has been hijacked into a kind of an exercise form only, and many people do not understand that it is a true integration of the body and the mind and the spirit. And because this true integration has not been understood, you have people who are pursuing it purely as a form of physical exercise, which is not wrong, but which is merely to say that it is much more than it is, not associating necessarily the pranayams and other aspects of breathing with it, and most of all, not understanding the basic fact that the word yoga actually stems from discipline. If you do not have discipline in everything that you do, if you do not have integrity of body and mind and spirit, you are not going to be able to achieve things in life. So this is actually a message to the world that this philosophy, which is several thousand years old in hand, has come from the Indian subcontinent, is something which is sublime and which needs to be sustained. The other problem is that there are many people who have become stepfathers and stepmothers of yoga, and we do not wish to see this being hijacked into other streams. The fact of the origin of yoga, the substance of yoga, and the essential meaning of why it even arose, that should not be lost. The fact that it is an Indian item should also not be forgotten. Not because I am being chauvinistic about yoga, not because we are being chauvinistic about yoga, but because the message of the totality of the nature of yoga will not come across unless we realize its roots. And therefore it is important that wherever it is practiced, the question and issue of where it came from and what it signifies, what it symbolizes, is very critical. And this, I think, is what is sought to be done through this International Yoga Day worldwide. And I am happy to say that from Beijing to San Francisco and beyond, we are now having yoga being done on this day, and I think it's a matter of great happiness and significance that it is happening.
So, how many cities in US are participating in this?
There are a very large number of cities. The 5 consulates and the embassy in DC are organizing programs. In addition, in the Bay Area itself, there are others who are also doing it. In Silicon Valley, there are people, this consulate looks after 12 states, and there are people who are doing this in LA, in San Diego. We also have people in Phoenix, in Las Vegas, in Seattle. So we have encouraged everybody, whoever has reached out to us, to organize it, and in many cases there may be people who are doing it whom we do not even, who have not spoken to us about it, but who are anyway doing it. For example, I was very surprised to find that there are large, significant communities even in places like Portland and Boise, Idaho, and elsewhere. So, and Utah, Salt Lake City. So there are people who are doing it all over the world. all over the jurisdiction of this consulate, there are people who are doing it. So I think it will be a very large number of cities in the US if we take it as a count.
So what are the cities that you are helping this?
As I said, our
As a
help
San
is
Francisco
more
consulate.
emotional, and we have sent across the message of the Prime Minister. We have sent across the basic steps which are to be initiated, the invocation prayer and the mudras which have to be performed. And the rest is up to the individual people to do. And here, of course, we have combined with Art of Living in organizing this program. And I'm very happy at the kind of response and the collective sense of responsibility with which we are managing to push forward this program.
How are the cities helping the city government and city facilities?
The permissions for everything have come through the city government, so it has been very helpful. And the city of San Francisco has also issued a proclamation on the occasion of International Yoga Day, which has been signed by the mayor, and we are very happy that this has been done. There are other places where also proclamations have been issued and are being put up in other cities.
So do you think the mayor will be there for the event?
I do not think that the mayor himself will be there, because the 21st is also the day for the mayor conference in San Francisco. This was the reason why we did not do it in City Hall. In fact, the original idea was to do it in City Hall, not in Marina Green Park, or in the lawns outside City Hall, and I'm sure they would have given it to us for such an occasion. But because of the mayor's conference, we did not do this. It is also Father's Day, incidentally,
Yes.
which should not in any way detract from the totality of the yoga, because after all, it can be all inclusive also. And I must also mention that the San Francisco airport authorities have been cooperative and have been very nice to us, in the sense that in the yoga room in the airport there is a poster and publicity related to this event which will be performed.
So from what I hear, you are expecting about 5,000 people to attend the event. So how is it going to work? Like, will there be instructors who will be instructing? How many instructors are there? Where are they coming from?
So most of the instructors are from those respective institutes. There are also freestyle individuals who are doing their own thing in terms of yoga. The other cities I mentioned, like Los Angeles and elsewhere, it is individuals, sometimes small groups which have been doing yoga for a long time, sometimes it's individuals who have the inspiration to take it on. There is a gentleman, for example, in San Diego who's doing something called Shashi Yoga. So we have, various people in different places who are doing different styles of yoga, but the idea is that we all join together for the common theme of yoga.